In this video, we're going to find out how to stop yourself from getting off your diet when you make a fool. If you have just binged eat or you've broken your diet, how do you get back on it and make sure that you don't finish? I'm losing it and I'm going to lose it week by week together with you. Let's talk about how to stay back on your diet when you've gone wrong. Now, why am I making this video? I'm making this video because I've only been on my diet, lifestyle change, whatever you want to call it, my healthy eating kick for almost a couple of weeks. And I just got back from work and there were some burgers left over from the kids' dinner sitting on the table. I ate my dinner some time ago. I was pretty hungry and I just had a bit of a nibble of one of their burgers. But that nibble kind of escalated, and then I took potato wedges that were on their plate. And then I thought to myself, well, I've broken my diet, so I might as well just go for it. I opened the fridge. I took a whole plate of spaghetti, another chicken schnitzel, and some more of those potato wedges. I heated in the microwave. I had it with ketchup, something I'd not been having because it's just too much sugar. And then I followed that up with raiding the cupboard. I found some chocolate chips and I couldn't resist, and I shoved them down my throat with a few biscuits, which are the worst. That's what I always go to, is biscuits. Really try not to eat them. So really, I went on a binge eat. I just completely failed. Now, usually I would feel absolutely terrible and disgusted, and I'd say, I can't do this, I'm so weak. And I'd just go back to my old habits, and that would be it. But I'm determined that this time I'm not going to do that. And I'm going to tell you a little story that I heard. And the story is a story from the Russian Empire. That it used to be that the top soldiers in the Emperor's army, in the Russian Emperor's army, were chosen not by how strong they were and not by how skillful they were with a sword. What did they used to do? The top battalion in the Russian Emperor's army, the general would instruct his commanders to put the new recruits on the wildest untamed horses. The horses that they saw a lot of potential in. Once they would have tamed them, they would have used them to go into battle. But before that, they had to capture wild horses. And the generals told the commanders to put the new recruits on the wildest, most untamed horses and see how long they could last on those horses, until they were thrown off. And some it was straight away, and some lasted 10 seconds, and some even half a minute. But eventually everybody was thrown off. But they didn't choose the new recruits for the best battalion in the Emperor's Russian army by the people who were on that horse the longest. It was after they'd been thrown off, they would see who were the ones who got straight back on. Who were the ones who laid there on the floor and didn't get up? They weren't in the army. The ones who got straight back up and straight back up onto that horse to ride it again, those were the ones that the emperor told the generals told the commanders to take them as the new recruits, because they knew it didn't matter if they didn't have the most sophisticated swordsmanship, if they didn't have the right, if they didn't have the biggest strength. They could be taught these things and they could train to become strong, but they wouldn't be able to change a person's attitude. If someone was determined that even if he got thrown off, he was going to get back on as quickly as possible, that was the recruit they wanted. And so I'm determined because of this. Yes, it's only been 2 weeks. And maybe there are a lot of you out there also who are like me, who feel that maybe you're a little weak, you make these resolutions, but you always fall off the wagon and you never last. I am absolutely determined to get back onto that horse. I've got my piece of paper with all the reasons why I started this diet anyway. I'm going to read it again. You know, I didn't read it today, and maybe that might be why when I walked in, I was tempted and gave in. I'm going to read over my reasons, and I'm going to start again tomorrow, and I'm not going to let it affect me. It was a one-time thing. I've got a weigh-in coming up on Thursday every 2 weeks and doing a weigh-in. I've got a weigh-in coming up it's Tuesday, just in a few days. And I'm determined that it's going to move. That scale is going to have moved. And because of this setback, maybe it won't have moved as much, but I'm determined it is going to move. And I'm not going back tomorrow morning into eating and grazing whatever I find in the fridge. I'm going to have a proper breakfast, probably my Weetabix, and that's going to be it. I'm getting back on that horse. And if you've taken a fall, and if you wanted to stick to a diet and you haven't stuck to it, look at my tip number 1 in this video series of losing it. Write down your reasons and read them again and again and again. And if you've still made a fool, if you've fallen off that horse, if you've had chocolate or whatever it is, or some massive meal, or just completely binged like I did, don't worry. Get back on the horse. Start again from now. I'll see you next time with another video in a couple of days.